What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Pub Sports Radio Baseball Show. My name is Jose Bouquet, and join with me today, a lone survivor in the land of Indiana, South Bend, a Tigers fan that we all know and love. It is the co-host of Podcastellanos, solid name, of course, director of content over at Alpha Dog Agency. It is Jordan Hall. Jordan, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Jose. Thanks for having me. I am so ready to talk some Tigers and just baseball in general.
Good. Yeah, this is. I'm glad this is like your little taster. It's the beginning. You know, you got to get a little appetizer in. We're starting.
Right.
Previews. We got to get those division previews in. And like I said, I thought there would be no better person to talk some Tigers, get some information about a team that no one really wants to talk about recently.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So, first of all, I want to start off this podcast by let's get the people getting to know you.
Okay.
You are like I said, director of content over at Alpha Dog Agency. You're the co-host of Podcastellanos. Again, great name. You have another podcast, which is another great name. One of your talents, Jordan. I will say you can name a podcast up in covers, covering the South Bend Cubs, if I'm correct. How did you get to Alpha Dog, and how did Podcastellanos come together?
So those are two very different stories. I've long been interested in podcasting. When it first kind of popped up, I don't know what, late 2009, 2010, kind of when it went mainstream. I started a general sports podcast, but I just kind of got to the point where I just can't get into hockey and football, all these other sports that I need to have a well-rounded show. I'm like, you know what I can do? I know everything there is to know about the Detroit Tigers. So I'm like, I'm going to focus in, just do a Tigers podcast. There's a parody. Well, at the time he was a parody account of reliever Phil Koch that was well known amongst Tigers circles. I'm like, all right, Eric, you're funny. I like to think that I'm a halfway decent host. Let's do this. And since then it's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 seasons at this point. The Tigers have gotten significantly worse in each of the years that we've covered them. But yeah, I love talking about it. We have the kind of show that you're probably not going to hear about launch angle or spin rate, which are things that I think are really cool and important. Just we're more focused on the Tigers fan experience as opposed to breaking down sabermetrics. Which
I understand you. I get you. I think that's kind of our vibe as well. I had two last week, or I guess this past week, I had 2 18-year-olds who wrote a book about sabermetrics and I felt like the dumbest person alive.
I can imagine. Yeah, I would be right there with you. I definitely think that those things are important, and marginal gains in baseball are huge, but I really don't know how many people want to listen to me talk about, weighted on base percentage for 50 minutes. So I'm probably just not going to do that. And then I ended up in the South Bend area. Somebody I went to college with, my excellent boss, Kyle O'Connor, who I believe you're going to be having on to talk Cubs.
We will talk about him further. I have to get the dirt on him further later.
Great guy. You'll love him. And so, I was doing some freelance social media marketing, and he had a position for it. So I came down here, and then he connected me with some of the front office guys at the South Bend Cubs, and that's going to be dropping here this spring. I actually just interviewed the manager, Michael Ryan, yesterday, who was really fun to talk to, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing their product on the field.
So, like I said, we're based out of San Antonio, so many people probably don't know much about the South Bend Cubs. So who are they, Jordan?
They are the single A affiliate. Well, I guess the high A affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. They were formerly the South Bend Silverhawks, but I think within the last 5 or 10 years they've rebranded. And to be completely honest, it was a step up. The new branding is much better than the old Silverhawk. But yeah, I've always been really interested in minor league baseball. I have a bit of a hipster side where I like to find things that are cool and good before they become super mainstream. Mm-hmm. And I mean, what's better for that than single A baseball?
Of course, yeah. I my hipster claim to fame is that I was the bat boy for the minor league team we have here. We have the Double A Padres, and it's been switching from the Brewers to the Padres. But I got lucky. I was the bat boy when Tatis and all those
dude.
And the whole thing is, I like telling this story. Tatis is like 20. I'm 23 currently, and back then I think I was like 22. So I'm like a year-ish older than him, and I'm like, this guy's not even that good, dude. He's hitting like 150 to 200 in Double A. I'm like, this is incredible. But the thing I was impressed with is he's easily the best defensive shortstop I've ever seen in person. Like, it was ridiculous. I would never want to be on the receiving end of one of his fucking 90-mile-per-hour balls coming right at me. But he was just bad for the first like whole month, and then for some point he just turns it on and just starts hitting ropes and bombs everywhere. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this guy's legit. And then he went to the futures game, and I was like, oh, I guess, yeah, this guy's pretty cool, I guess.
Never looked back.
Yeah, no. So shout out to him. I'll take like 3% credit for Fernando Tatis going off.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit of Tigers history with you, Jordan, because I don't know, how many Tigers conversations you're having on a daily basis. And on this show, when we have nothing to talk about, we like watching old games, doing a little rewatch because we're young as hell and we're uneducated, as older people say. So
that is what they would say, definitely.
I want to start off first with one of my Venezuelan kings, one of the peak moments in recent Tigers history, and that is my boy Magglio Ordonez, walk-off home run to send you to the World Series against the A's, I believe. 06?
Yep. 06.
Where were you? How are you feeling? Well, just give me the whole vibe.
All right. So I used to live in Traverse City, Michigan. So I was in the living room of my childhood home. I'm sure I was on the floor. I feel like when I get nervous watching games, somehow I always end up watching it from the floor. Okay. I mean, I can picture, where the TV setup was. And I mean, that's probably the best moment of my sports career or my sports watching life at this point. I mean, it's hard to describe. We had been so bad. Like it's hard to overstate how bad we had been in very recent past at that point. And kind of slowly through the season, we started to be like, yeah, we're pretty good. We're pretty good. And we're like, we're really good. Like, I think we're going to make the playoffs. And all of a sudden, we're in the World Series. Like, it just, I feel like fairy tale might be a hair bit much just because, it's sports. It's not a children's novel. But like, that was, I mean, definitely the best sports moment of my fandom life to this point. Hopefully there will be more in the future, but that's at the top right now.
Okay, well, let's go to the bottom. Let's go straight to the bottom.
I had a feeling you were going to go there.
I wanted to butter you up because we're going to
smart.
We're going to 2013. We're going to 2013. I would say I was listening to Fully Grown Men recently. Shout out to you guys, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I heard something that I've never really heard before, and then this is just me being in my little bubble. You were like, God, David Ortiz and Grand Slam and Torrey Hunter. And in my head, I was like, I have never heard someone like ridicule that a play that I've never heard the other perspective of this. I think this would be my favorite memory of the Red Sox, even though I've got so many, not to brag, whatever.
There are. Yeah, you guys have several to choose from. This must be nice.
I rewatched the highlights of the series because this is my one of my favorite series because we have the Red Sox have no business winning this series. Absolutely. Right. It is
completely agreed.
The funniest thing I laugh about, I think, Jordan, I'm not going to lie to you. I think I wake up at least once a week and I think, wow, the 2013 Red Sox really beat that Tigers team because they're absolutely ridiculous. I watched the stats or I watched the highlights. I watched game one and I just want to go game by game here and just get your thoughts, like how you're feeling and just overall reaction. So game one, we get John Lester, Anibal Sanchez, Manibal as we'll call him now. He dominant. One of the three horses that you guys had. There were so many pitchers. Shout out to Pretty Ricky Porcello too. But yeah, the Red Sox get one hit in the ninth inning. Oh, you're on top of the world, I assume. 1-0 series lead. You're going to the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. Not that. So to be fair, I would never underestimate the Red Sox. I feel like there are a couple teams that I would get carried away. Like, the series over. Red Sox, Yankees, definitely not one of them. But yeah, feeling good considering what's coming next as far as our starting pitching.
Yeah, because guess what? You've got this guy named Max Scherzer coming up in game 2 against Clay Buchholz. And I don't know. I this is where we start. I want to know. You take I think it was a 5-0 lead, and you're on top of the world. I assume there's nothing can happen. We're good.
To be fair, I will counter that by saying, and I don't know, maybe only Tigers fans are aware of this, but there is a deep distrust of the Tigers bullpen. It goes back literally as long as I can remember. Basically, it comes from Todd Jones to Jose Valverde to Troy Purcell, like all of the closers and obviously it didn't take getting to the closer in this game, but we have a deep-seated distrust of our own bullpen, and it turned out it was for good reason.
Jose Valverde that name just sent a shiver down my spine. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't heard that name in ages. Oh my goodness.
Same.
So the Tigers take an early lead. Miguel Cabrera detonated on a ball. Takes a 2-0 lead. We get Alex Avila, who again another name that just makes me crack up now. 5-0. The Sox get no hit through 5 2/3, and then all of a sudden the bases are loaded because my former boy Jose Iglesias, one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball, still actually, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
To think about. He makes an error, and a very uncharacteristic error, bobbles it, and then that sets up the whole David Ortiz, Torrey Hunter flipping over the wall. Now I want to know because at this moment. I forget how old I was, but I remember just running around my house, screaming, doing the whole thing. I want to know what the other side was like. When Torrey Hunter flipped over the wall, did you think he caught it?
I don't know. I can't remember what I was feeling. And I'm sure I'm an eternal optimist. I'm sure I was feeling that he caught it. But it goes back to like 3 pitches before. And this is the rant I'm sure you heard me tell on Fully Grown Men. There was a changeup from Joaquin Benoit to David Ortiz that should have been strike 3, should have been out of the inning. He doesn't get the call. And then honestly, at that point, I'm like, crap, something bad's going to happen. And sure enough, it did. Like you say, that is that's probably, I don't know if you're a soccer fan, but the Aguero goal, I'm a Man United fan, those two are the 2 worst moments probably of my overall life. I've lived a pretty easy life, but those 2 are the absolute worst moments of my sports fandom. That was rough.
Good. Don't worry. We'll talk about soccer too. I sprinkle in a little of everything. You have a nice bio. We can touch on everything here, Jordan.
Sweet.
Okay, so we get that grand slam. It's a tie game. At this point, do you know it's over?
Yes, absolutely, definitely. Because Max is already out of the game. Like there's nothing that we're gonna pull out of the bullpen that's as good as what you have. The game's over for sure.
Yeah, I will never forget Joaquin Benoit, and I remember the announcers going, "Oh, Joaquin's specifically on this team to get out hitters like David Ortiz and all this stuff." And I'll never forget that. And then I'll never forget Saltalagaba Guzzi hitting a walk-off single in the end of the game. That brings us to game 3. I don't know which of these games you might be most upset about, but I think this would be the one I would be I think I'd lose sleep over this, actually, thinking about it. John Lackey versus Justin Verlander, the best pitcher of our decade, most likely, versus Justin Verlander. The power goes out. The power goes out in the first part of the game. That's all weird. Makes it a little more like, Super Bowl Ravens, 49ers. The Tigers just keep fumbling chances. Just absolutely fumbling chances. The one that comes to mind specifically, man on third, I believe 1 out. Omar Infante strike out. And some guy who is literally a creative player, Andy Dirks, grounds out.
Dirks, Tigers legend. Yeah, so honestly, 2 of the guys that you want up in this situation, specifically Infante, puts the ball in play so much, strikeout naturally. And then Andy Dirks is, he's a high batting average guy. Clearly I'd rather have the heart of the order up, but if it has to be a bottom of the order guy, you could do worse than Andy Dirks. The misery continued. That's for sure.
Yeah. See, I told you, I told you before the show.
You did.
This is going to be the part of the show where I just just stab you right in the back. But we're getting through it. I'm glad. I'm glad we're getting through it. So the 7th inning comes along, And I think one of my spirit animals, the man that made me want to grow a beard, a long, gruesome beard, and as you can tell, my genetics don't just refuse.
You just got to keep working on it. It's a
you.
persistence thing.
Hey, that's what I tell my parents too. Mike Napoli and his majestic beard hits a moon bomb. I believe it was off of Justin Verlander, a high fastball. And that would be it. That's all the scoring we got for this game. Junichi Chizawa strikes out Miguel Cabrera in a big moment. I'm sure you've never seen that happen before.
He was so lights out in that series. Like, how is this happening kind of way? Just like no chance.
Was he the MVP that year? Because I remember he led in batting average for sure that year. I'm not sure if that was a Triple Crown year, but he was incredible that year. Yeah. And then Koji Uehara, who was literally a meme amongst my friend group before he came to Boston, just because of how ridiculous he was. I just want to know, how did it feel? Again, I'm asking you a lot of how did it feel questions, but Koji is throwing like 82 to 90 and just dicing dudes up. No one has a chance against him the whole postseason.
Yeah, that was the one guy. I'm like, I swear, if you give me a bat, I can hit this guy, and nobody up there can. Yeah, it was incredibly frustrating.
It's honestly one of the trivia questions of like the year.
As somebody who was a slop throwing relief pitcher, I always tip a cap to a guy who can get somebody out throwing 85 miles an hour. It was incredibly frustrating.
What was in the arsenal? I want to see it now.
Oh, so I was a left-handed reliever. Threw fastball about 82, but I was primarily curveball slider. That was my go-to.
Well, Jordan, it's kind of shocking how many similarities we have right now, because I was also a left-handed reliever.
Nice.
I was also a left-handed reliever. I also threw like 80 poo, and I lived off of me throwing sidearm sliders and then just messing around with a splitter. So shout out to me and you.
That's the only way to do it. I think everyone out there would agree.
Thank you. I'm glad that we got there. So now let's fast forward to the last game of the series we'll talk about. Game 6. Mad Max again versus Cladro. And if you list these pitching matchups off, you would just be appalled at the Tigers.
Yeah.
They break
not the only time.
they break the strikeout records for starters in a series in this game. One of my guys, Victor Martinez, gives you a 2-run lead or a 2-run single to give you a 2-1 lead. Prince Fielder, I don't know. I simply don't know what he's doing on this next play. He gets himself caught in a rundown in that inning and ends it, and does the whole like, I'm going to like dive on the floor to try to avoid the runner to make it look even worse. His face on the ground was terrible, and it was just a bad time.
Yeah, probably the single biggest like memed moment in Tigers history. That you couldn't go anywhere on Twitter without seeing that meme, as should have been the case.
Yeah, well, that all led again to a familiar sight. Jose Iglesias error extends the inning in the 7th inning and brings up another one of my spirit animals, Shane Victorino, to hit a grand slam, pull one out of his ass after going 2 for 30 or 2 for 23 or something like that. And basically that's the dagger.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the gambler's fallacy. Like, he was over whatever you said. He's clearly due, and couldn't have been more due, as it turns out. Yeah, that was honestly, the whole series was rough, but I don't necessarily like regret that it happened. I had 6 games of thoroughly enjoying at least 8 or so innings of it. Like, I don't know, anytime you get your team in a high pressure situation like that, like, it is still fun. Just occasionally it'd be nice if we came out on the other side of one of these, but there's still time, and Torkelson's coming, so he's going to take us there.
Yes, that's what good. I'm glad we've made that pivot. I'm glad there's no more, that can't jab the knife anymore. Unfortunately, I think that's the last playoff appearance that the Tigers have had.
Sounds about right.
I think so. I'm not absolutely sure off the top of my head, but I think that we'll say it. That's the last one we've had, and now we're in the future. I want to ask you about your 3. I'll call them your baby boys. Spencer Torkelson, who, I mean, are we going to see him this year, or are we going to keep manipulating service time?
I don't think we see him this year. So I think he's going to start the year at high A in West Michigan. I'd be surprised if he doesn't at least end the year in Toledo, but I don't see any way that, especially in this, what I'm assuming is going to be a weird jacked up year. I I personally would love to see him. I don't think with a guy as old as he is that there's any rush in or any harm in kind of rushing him through. Like, you're not going to hurt his confidence. He's Spencer freaking Torkelson. But I think they are going to slow play it with him a little bit, which I guess is fine.
Yeah, I mean, control. You can't be like the Mariners and out here saying that you're going to control this guy and manipulate all this stuff. So you have to do it in the shadow. So I respect
A little bit, yeah.
You got your first taste of Casey Mize and your boy Skubal.
Yep.
What were your thoughts? I mean, I know they didn't, perform at the best, but you got to see some play out there.
So it's a little bit of an interesting case. I feel like they both came up about midway through the year this past year, which was 2/3 of the way through a normal season. Mize didn't really have much in the way of success, and I really didn't necessarily even see flashes from him. It looked like a lot of the command that had been so, paramount to him down in the minors and at Auburn had deserted him. And even a little bit more so, not more so, but similarly with Skubal, they both just didn't quite look the same as they had down in the minor leagues, which is completely understandable. Taller buildings, brighter lights. And I was pretty high on Skubal after the year, and I was maybe a little bit concerned about Casey. But I think what it comes down to is that now we have Chris Fetter. We hired a whole new staff. AJ Hinch now in as the manager, and Chris Fetter, the former Michigan pitching coach, is now our pitching coach. And I trust him completely to work out all of the bugs with Mize and Skubal. He is, I believe, a complete pitcher whisperer. I mean, they both have immense potential, and I feel like we actually have somebody on staff to mold them into what they can be. And I am through the roof on the future for both of those two, and Matt Manning. Hopefully, maybe like 1 year down the line.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Casey Mize. I mean, I did some research. I did my baseball savant, looked at his spin rates, all that good stuff. I saw, he had a couple starts, but 3 of them were against the vaunted Minnesota Twins offense. We don't want 3 starts against that kind of team, especially in a shortened season. And so Skubal the same way. They both ended up making 3 starts against the Twins. And being a rookie facing that kind of offense is tough. So, maybe a little inflated ERA because you're facing some good teams.
Yeah, for sure. And you're always going to figure some stuff out through that first year. I mean, there are very few guys that come up and absolutely set the world on fire. And I completely get that. And I'm in no way ready to write them off. I'm very curious to see. I think Skubal will probably break camp with the club. So I think we're going to see, quite a few starts from him, and hopefully Casey's up at least before the All-Star game, if not well before that. Yeah, it's time to let him spin. Like we've had him down there long enough. It's time to see what they can do. There's no downside at this point.
So Skubal opening day starter confirmed. That's what I heard.
Honestly, he's probably our best starting pitcher. It's just a matter of Matt Boyd and some of the other guys having a little bit more seniority on him. But I mean, he's clearly the most talented of the 5 that are going to break camp with the team.
Yeah, so that's a Michael Fulmer's corpse. I miss Michael Fulmer prime.
Me too. He was something. I mean, he's had too many shoulder and then knee. If he can ever get back to being fully healthy, which I probably doubt at this point. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to think that the stuff can't come back, but he's a good 2+ years removed from the last time he was like good in, all caps.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm starting to connect the dots here in this interview. I think I'm a big Detroit Tigers fantasy baseball guy.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I was a big Fulmer guy. I had him in fantasy here for a while, and whenever I saw the news of Mize and Skubal being called up, I frantically had to grab my phone and pick them up immediately. So I didn't get
that,
but I'll get it. I'll get them eventually. I'm a very stubborn when it comes to these guys, so I'll keep going back. Well, let's talk about someone who is close to my heart, close to your heart. It's Miguel Cabrera. I mean, he's my Venezuelan goat. I was born in Venezuela. He's the guy. He's the best. He's the best Venezuelan player of all time. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I heard him a tweet actually today. He said his goal is 3,000 hits, 500 home runs. What do you expect from Miguel Cabrera, and what do you think is success for you?
Oh, that is a good question. I think he is going to be healthier this year than in any recent year. And I think if he can continue to play healthy, we're going to see a successful Miggy. Like, he is, I would say 270 and 20 homers might be success, but just being a consistent threat in the middle of the order, not being beat on fastballs inconsistently, just even being 2/3 of what we kind of come to think of with Miggy, that's success. And I think that's going to go a long way. I mean, the Triple Crown guy's never coming back. Age catches up to all of us, and that's completely understandable. But I don't think that he's as done as he's looked in the past couple of years. I think it's just a matter of he's got to get his legs under him. He's got to keep him there. And honestly, I think keeping him in the DH spot last year didn't do him any favors. For whatever reason, he really excels playing the field. I think that kind of gives him some life. And just posting him up in the DH spot, I think, as weird as it sounds, almost drained him. And I think Hinch is going to let him play some first this year, which is I think will do well for him.
Yeah, there's definitely those kind of guys. They're playing the field, gets them mentally in the game more.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever you have, I'm just glad he's not the full Pujols yet. That's what I was most happy to see.
I'd agree with that. Yeah,
I looked at the stats last year. I was like 10 home runs, a lot more than I thought that he had. I would guess like 5 like max last year, but 10 home runs, not a bad season. 35 RBI is fine. Unfortunately for, I guess, Tigers ownership, he's under contract till 2023, I believe, with 2 more options. But they're mutual options, so you'll probably get out of those.
And here's the thing on Miggy. For what he did for us, for how long he did it for us, I will pay him whatever it takes the rest of the contract. Like, he has so more than earned that money. I have no issues with it. Like, it is a bit of an albatross at this point, but he is certainly the greatest Tiger in my lifetime. I mean, I didn't watch Al Kaline play, so I can't really compare him, but I mean, he's probably the best Tiger ever. He's done it with a smile on his face. He's really taken to the city. Like, I mean, I don't begrudge him a dime of what he's going to make between now and when he's done playing for the Tigers.
Yeah, I'm all about the paying Venezuelan players thing. That's my
we have definitely done that over the years. That's for sure.
Exactly.
And it has treated us very well.
Let's talk about those guys. Magglio, my guy, love him. World Series walk-off guy. We love that. Victor Martinez. Close personal friend, Victor Martinez. I don't know if you know this, Jordan, but races tend to stay together. And me and my guy, Victor Martinez, when my parents, when I was younger, they used to always like go up to the other Venezuelan guys on the minor league teams, chitty chatty and, buddy with them. And apparently they did that with like Victor Martinez and all these ridiculous ass people. So I consider him a close personal friend now.
Might as well. Definitely. I mean, you practically are. So I see nothing wrong with that.
I have his signature. I have his very faded, worn out signature on a bat somewhere in my house. So if he tries to deny it, I'll be like, Victor, come on, dude. Like,
evidence of us hanging. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. And here's my other Tiger story. I think you'll like this one, Jordan. So I think I'm like 12 at this point. And this is my first time going to Texas. I'm at an Astros game, and of course they're playing the Tigers. I'm close-ish down the first baseline or something like that, and we're watching the guys warm up. And I'm 12 years old. I'm cute as hell, Jordan. You can imagine it.
I can.
Yes, thank you. I have a Venezuelan flag on me, and that's the radar. If you ever want those guys to come with you, you just got to bring a Venezuelan flag. So I get the flag signed by Miguel and Magglio. I'm on top of the world. My mom asked for a picture, and I'm of course it's by herself because it's the 2 Venezuelan legends. So I'm just sitting back there, and I am 99% sure this is true. My mom grabbed a handful of both of their asses. Not like no hesitation, did that. Took the picture, and I was like, thanks, and then walked off. And I was like, damn. This is crazy. This is Major League Baseball now. So I always love the Tigers for that. One of my favorite teams, and I root for their success all the time.
That is the definition of shooting your shot. I love it.
Yes. So I want to go through a quick speed round here, Jordan, before we
all right, sounds good.
Get out of here. I think these questions will hopefully warm your heart, make you feel good going out of the interview. Who is the Tiger we need to know about before the season starts?
Oh, that is a good one. I I feel like I gotta go with Isaac Paredes. He came up and played a lot of third base for us. He came over in the, believe it or not, Justin Wilson and Alex Avila trade from the Cubs. He came over with Candelario. Really young guy. He absolutely tore the Winter League up this year. Honestly, like, think Johnny Peralta. Like, he is a younger, slightly more fit at this point.
Yeah, I
We'll
was about
see
to
where
say,
it goes.
pretty chubby bunny right there.
Yeah, he's slightly more fit, at least as a young pup. I'm assuming he probably will end up at first at some point, but he's at third right now. The kid can flat out hit. The power is there. I think it's going to come. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit 300 this year, and probably play 150 games. Like, he is going to be in the lineup every day. He's going to hit 300, and I think at some point we're going to see him ease towards the heart of the order. And he's someone that a lot of Tigers fans have been excited about for a long time, and it's about to come home to roost, which, as somebody who's been rooting for a rebuild now forever, like, it's nice to see some of these guys come around.
Yeah, keep that one written down for your fantasy baseball names, everyone that's watching. That's a good one right
Definitely.
there. Here's another one. Tigers World Series with cheating, or another ALCS win and a World Series loss.
Like, without cheating, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I got to lean towards the clean version. I don't necessarily want to be associated with that, but I mean, I guess it just depends on the cheating. If we're talking about, substances on the ball or something like that, I mean, that everyone's doing, that's fine. But I don't necessarily
going the pitches. I don't know. Maybe
I mean, when it comes to systematic sign stealing, I'm not sure I can get down with that. But I'm not here to pass judgment on them. Like, baseball, they've all served their time at this point. I think it's safe to move on.
Okay, that's a very, like, AJ Hinch is my manager. Let's move on.
Yeah, definitely. But
see, I can just say, like, the Red Sox didn't do anything. Alex Cora is my manager. All this stuff. So I just push that all down too.
Yeah, the Red Sox, they didn't do anything. It's just a matter of that Alex Cora guy.
I know what you're talking about, Jordan. Yeah. Which World Series would you rather have, Jordan? 13 or 06?
06, no doubt. I mean, clearly I'd take either, but 06, like, that was such a magical year. It still feels weird that we didn't actually win it. And if we could have fielded a bunt, we probably would have, but we can't, so we didn't. It was pretty much down to that. Verlander couldn't field a bunt. I can't remember. Kenny Rogers, I think, threw one away, and which, I mean, leave it to the Cardinals to beat us on a series of misplayed bunts. But I mean, that's pretty much what happened.
Kenny Rogers, Country Award music star and foreign substance guy. So shout out to him.
And chicken roaster.
Okay, I'm glad he's got multiple talents. Who was your guy? Who was your guy growing up? Who was that? Maybe you impersonated their swing, or maybe you were winding up like them.
So this is so random, but I think my favorite Tiger growing up was Nook Logan. He was the
Nook man.
Speedy center fielder. Like, I grew up slow. I couldn't hit. Like, he was the exact opposite of who I was. And that's what I wanted. He was the dude. And I also, I mean, it's hard to get away from Verlander as a guy that grew up wanting to be a pitcher. That was dude was the pinnacle. I couldn't model my game after him at all because I shared zero pitching traits with him. But just the sequencing and some of the, kind of more mental stuff, I tried to play off of what he did. But those two.
I think it's stupid funny how similar we're becoming in this interview. One of my guys was Jacoby Ellsbury, speedy center fielder. Love Jacoby Ellsbury. Then he stabbed me in the back, and we don't talk about that now. But
that still befuddles me. I don't understand how you can go from the Red Sox to the Yankees.
Well, he got a lot of money, Jordan, and he did not play any games. So in the long run, it was actually really funny, and I enjoyed it. But in the moment, I was super.
Maybe it was a stay woke. Maybe he was still a Red Sox special agent.
Well, hate to see it. The Tigers win totals at 68.5. Are you going over or under?
I'll take the over. I like them at 76.
Okay. I mean, wow. Blowing over the water too.
I don't think we're going to win the division, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were nearing 500. I think that is in the realm of outcomes. I mean, it really just depends on how quickly the pitching clicks, and it has the ability to click pretty darn fast if Chris Fetter's as good of a coach as I think he is. So we'll see. But yeah, I definitely like the over. I would for sure put some money on that.
There you go. I know, like I said, I know you guys are gambling guys. We are too. So fifth lowest odds. I'm going to go ahead and write that down and put an over on the Tigers for you, Jordan.
Definitely.
All right. So here's my last question. I kind of hinted at this earlier. I am going to speak to your boss. I'll give you a performance review. Good old Kyle. At some point next week, and I'd like to get the dirt on him before. What is? I don't know how long you guys know each other. You guys said, I believe college, but what is one, funny story or something that I should ask Kyle about when I talk?
Ooh, that's a good question. I should have thought about this ahead of time. I know that you might, if I were you, I would ask him about hitting the live line on the Chiefs during the Super Bowl, because he hit it repeatedly and that clearly did not work out.
Yes, I actually, like I said, I listened to the podcast a couple times, and leading up to the podcast, I listened to it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm huge on the Chiefs," and I was like, "Man, the Chiefs are gonna win, right? Whatever." And then I actually here's the one time I can brag about my gambling, Jordan. I bet Rob Gronkowski to score the first touchdown, and I lost my mind. But the whole time, like, one of the things I was thinking about, because I was on the Bucks, I was like, man, Kyle is on the Chiefs. Am I going on the Chiefs? I don't know. And then I realized one day, because I see the parlays you guys put out on social media, and I thought for some reason, I was like, they always hit. All those parlays hit all the time.
That is not true in the slightest. Exactly. I wish that was true.
I heard that you guys like never hit them, so I was like, oh, so I stay on the Bucks, obviously.
I mean, that's pretty infallible logic. That's really accurate. Yeah, that's
good. So, hey,
but yeah, no, he's a great guy, good Cubs fan. You guys will have a good conversation. He's very knowledgeable. Big Javi guy, big Kyle Hendricks guy, big Alec Mills guy, naturally. But yeah, that'll be a fun talk for you.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a big Evan Gattis guy too. I can feel the Evan Gattis vibes.
Are there any big Evan Gattis guys out there? I'm curious about this one. I think even Evan's mom probably doesn't have him down as her favorite player.
I bet you Evan doesn't even tell people he played baseball. Like, I just made my money just making some investments. I don't know, playing some ball here and there. That's probably the
Oh my! Can you imagine Evan Gattis playing slow pitch softball? Holy cow! That dude probably is the greatest slow pitch softball player of all time.
I think I would pay hard-earned money to see that. And I think, I think Kyle is the guy. They'll like bond from like a shared experience or something. They kind of, in my head, they look similar. I think I saw a picture of Kyle holding a bat in a very Evan Gattis way.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they have actually weirdly similar stances. Maybe they are the same person. I don't know.
I think that's what got in my head. So now I've got that in my head, and who knows? I might end up calling Kyle Evan at some point. So
yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Good. All right. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page. Before we go, you're a Man United fan. I just wanted to say I hate Man United, and I'm a Liverpool fan. So there's that.
Oh, woof. Oh my gosh. I will say,
Boston sports thing.
Yeah, I kind of wondered, but as much as it pains me to say, like, I am very glad. I'm very happy for all the Liverpool fans out there. Like, it had been a very, very long time, and as sappy as it sounds, I like to see it when long-suffering fans finally get just rewards for sticking with their teams. And also,
does that give you hope?
What?
I think it gives you hope for yourself. I think that's just like you talking.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe. And it pains me to my core to say this, but I actually really love Jurgen Klopp. The dude is just so cool. I mean, I would take him at United in a heartbeat. But
I don't know what the price is, but I would pay a large sum of money for just one hug. Like, yeah. I want him just to hug me just really tight, like he would after like a big game. We win a game, and I just want to hug from him. That's it.
Oh my gosh, that's a great side hustle for him. How has he not thought of that? There'd be all kinds of a market in Liverpool for that.
I don't know. I'm out here making millions of dollars, and Jurgen, I guess, just missing out.
Probably should wait for COVID to be over. But once it is, man, set it up.
You're right. You're right. I hope Ole over there. I hope he has the wheel, and I hope you guys are going in the right direction. But at the same time, I really hope you don't. So
Yeah, it's all about Bruno. Bruno is
literally.
Bruno is the man. I love him.
I you know what? I might have to make a Bruno the movie poster with Bruno Fernandez's face on there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
He's a good looking dude. He's not a bad one to put up in your studio there.
Hey, well, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us, or joining me, I guess I should say. It's been a fun time. Hopefully we'll talk again soon. And the Tigers, I can't wait.
Yeah, man, sounds good.
It's time. Miguel Cabrera, 40 home runs. Here we come.
That would be nice. I would take that. But no, thanks, Jose. It's been a lot of fun. Anytime, just let me know.
No problem. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys next week on the Pub Sports Radio Baseball Show.